The Clippers big man gives his perspective on Kawhi Leonard, and he gives them his impression of Kawhi Leonard so far in regards to the preseason of looking at Kawhi now, based upon how he is now, in regards to how he was pre-injury. And he also kind of gives his insight on other things too, but the main thing is he kind of speaks on where the team is, what the expectations are, and what he sees in Kawhi Leonard so far. And so far, looking at, listening to Zubac seems like, when he speaks about Kawhi Leonard, he says that Kawhi Leonard looks like pre-injury Kawhi. He looks good, he looks fast, he looks strong, he looks quick, and he looks like Kawhi. And he also speaks on the fact that, everybody knows that this team can't go nowhere without Kawhi or PG. So the goal is to keep them healthy and to make it through the season and progress as a team, and then take it to the playoffs and see where they can take it. In so many words, that's what he says. And I think Zubac is on point with that because, that's exactly what's expected of them. And that's exactly what they need to do to get through this season and, try to better themselves within the season to take their talents into the playoffs and see how far they can go. So I think Zubac is spot on with that. And the fact that Zubac says that he, sees Kawhi as pre-injury Kawhi, and Kawhi looks that good, that says a lot of good things about the Kawhi Leonard in regards to the hard work he put in, and how dedicated he was to trying to come back, be a better player, and be the best player he can be, almost as if he never left. And those are the things you want to hear coming from any of your players when they're talking about your best player on the team, because he's the guy who's going to really lead the team and be, the biggest part or one of the biggest parts of their success going forward. So you definitely want to hear that your best player is healthy along with your second best player in Paul George. So that's what the Clippers, needed. That's what the Clippers are in it for. And they got that. They're getting that so far. So that's the goal, and that's always been the goal. And the goal is still the same with that, to keep them healthy so they can take it as far as they can. Because everybody knows they would have went to the finals a couple years ago instead of the Phoenix Suns. If Kawhi Leonard was healthy, there's no way the Phoenix Suns beat the Clippers if Kawhi and PG both is on the floor healthy. There's no way, because the Suns just are not more talented than the Clippers when it comes to what they have, and the talent they have, and the experience they have in regards to winning in championships and all that. The Clippers have more experience in championships than a Phoenix Suns team, because Chris Paul only went to one finals, and so has predominantly, for the most part, most of their star power on their team only went to one finals. Kawhi has been to won two. Actually, he's been to 3 championships and won 2. You got to look at that in its entirety. And then, Ty Lue is a better head coach to me than Monty Williams is. He's won a championship as a head coach and as a player. So the wisdom, the experience, the championships is all in favor of the Clippers. So my point is, I think the Clippers would have definitely went with the star power and wisdom they have if Kawhi Leonard was healthy that year instead of the Phoenix Suns going to the finals. But that's neither here nor there. It didn't happen, so there's no need to dwell on that. But my point is, Kawhi is definitely, that much of a game changer. And Zubac basically speaks on that. When he's healthy, they can do a lot. When PG's healthy, they can do a lot, So it's good. It's important to see both of them players out there. It's important for both of them to be healthy. It's important for both of them to make it through this season. And honestly, it's important for Zubac himself to make it through this season. He talked about some of his expectations of himself, of being, just a better big man, understanding his role, playing his role at a high level, doing what the team needs. Just as he spoke on these things before also, when he gave his comments on the Clippers and everything. So I'm glad to hear that Zubac really knows his role and his position, because they're going to need him to know it. They're going to need him to be at the highest level he can be. They're going to need him to execute at the highest level as possible, because they really don't have much depth in that center position. They might, they're going to use Robert Covington in the center position some, just because they want to play some hall ball. They're probably going to use Nicholas Batum and a few others, regardless, they don't really have a big man to me that has a name besides Zubac, and they don't have a big man to me that really commands a presence in the paint. And I think that's something that is probably a weakness of the Clippers that other teams will exploit if they play them in a 7-game series. So I think the Clippers really need to either find something in that area or really hope that Zubac, develops and be a little bit more solid throughout the season, and then when the playoffs get here, he's exactly the big man they need. I mean, they can hope for that, but that's only wishful thinking. It doesn't mean it's going to come to reality. That's why I think they need to find another big man with a decent name who can really help, drive their center position to another level that'll make them unbeatable in all phases. So if the Clippers would like to work on that would be great, for their future. But at the same time, either way, it doesn't matter. Because like I said, they still have a team to win a championship. They still have a good enough team to win it all, just because of all the talent they have in every other position and how strong they are in the power forward, small forward, and the guard positions, both of them, 1 and 2. So because of how strong they are in pretty much all these positions, they still have a chance to be one of the best teams in the NBA and win a championship as well. So even without getting more depth in the big man area, I just think they need to, because Zubac, I'm not sure how trustworthy he can be in regards to being the best big man on a championship roster. I'm not sure how much trust you could put into that. And then on top of that, as I said, Moses Brown, I'm not sure about him because Dallas didn't want him. OKC didn't want him. So I don't know how good he would be for the Clippers. I think he'll be okay, but who knows? We have to see. And like I said, when you're playing against competition trying to win a championship, there can't be suspectivity in regards to, your gameplay in certain areas, because everything needs to be filled, all I's need to be dotted, all T's need to be crossed, and everything needs to be checked off when you're trying to win a championship. Everything needs to be aligned. So if that's the case, I don't know exactly, how much in the center position will that hurt them if they face a team that, finds that's the Clippers' weakness and they have an advantage over the Clippers in that area. I don't know how much the Clippers will be able to react against that or counteract it, but I think they will be able to, simply because, they have a Kawhi Leonard. Because you have Kawhi, you can counteract a lot. And you just got to hope that Kawhi stays healthy in trying to counteract what some other teams are doing when you play them in a 7-game series, because you're playing so much small ball, which Ty Lue said they will, that can come back to hurt them depending on who they're playing. Because if they play a team like Memphis in the first round or second round, that could be a tough matchup for the Clippers, because Steven Adams is really commanding in the paint. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds for Memphis, and he can rebound really well as a big man, and he commands a presence in the paint. He doesn't score that much, but defensively, he can play really well. He can move his feet pretty good still, and he's still a really good offensive rebounder and a good rebounder in general. So the fact that they have a big man that they can rely on, and they can throw the ball into at times that he can get his own, points a little bit here and there, and Steven Adams, that might actually counteract what the Clippers have with Zubac, because I think Steven Adams commands more of a presence in the paint than somebody like a Zubac. So, there again, that could be a matchup problem for the Clippers if they play somebody like that, because Zubac is really not, equipped to play against, any top centers. I'm not saying that, Steven Adams is a top center, but, the way he plays at times, he plays like a top center at times, because he can get 10 to 15 rebounds with about 9 points, and he can give you 1 or 2 blocks at times. So, it's like, that's really good center numbers for his age and for what the Memphis Grizzlies need out of him being a veteran big man who everybody knows in the league. And he's a big man who has a name in the league also. He has more of a name in the league than Zubac has, to me personally. But, Zubac is just on a better team. I think, overall, he's playing with Kawhi and PG, and, Steven Adams playing on a team with a bunch of young guys and a young Ja Morant. But even still, it just goes to show how much depth, in that center position that needs to be filled. And hopefully Zubac can fulfill that. And hopefully Kawhi and everybody stays healthy. But either way, let's see what happens in the season. Let's see how it pans out. But here's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.